Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? Dustin, Starr here, coming to you live from the Memphis Wrestling WrestleCenter. I am here at the desk. You might hear a little bit of an echo, but that's okay. This place is usually rocking and rolling, and it is usually sold out, full of rabid, screaming Memphis wrestling maniacs, or should I say Memphis Meezarks. What's up, Rico? How are you? I am Dustin Starr, and let's talk about episode 204, Down to Clown. And let me tell you, my Maria always says that I book all my heroes, all my favorites, and I never really thought about it, but this was one of my favorite episodes ever. I've been such an Insane Clown Posse fan for so long, especially Violent J, believe it or not, to have them here at the WrestleCenter, along with Kerry Morton, and you're going to see more of Juggalo Championship Wrestling coming up real soon, as Violent J stated on the program. But let's talk all about it. What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? What are the hits? What are the misses? We had so much going down. The gun show, boom, is on a collision course to Super Bout 4 coming up on Sunday, January 26th, which is next Sunday. Get those tickets. If you don't have tickets, what the heck are you doing? Because Matt Riddle, the original bro, is going to be here live. Get those tickets. It will sell out. Memphis Wrestling TV, and then also February 16th will go on sale very, very soon. I want to talk a little bit about everything, but let's talk about today's episode. So much going on. Rico's in the house. Stars of Tomorrow on the card. I love it. Keep it coming. That's right. The Stars of Tomorrow are going to be the stars of today eventually, getting a lot of television time. We saw tag team action today. Unfortunately for Kale and James Curtis, they were on the losing end of the tag team match. But, man, Main Event Bradley and Big Nasty Phil, they were as hot as ever. And then what the heck was going on with Sean Harvey coming out, interrupting the gun show and tossing his glasses at him? So, yeah, Stars of Tomorrow were all over the show. Lurvy's here. Hello, Lurvy. How are you? He says early for a change. What are Memphis Wrestling's plans for Violent J? I thought people in the crowd, in the chat were, I don't know what you're saying right there, but I will say that Violent J said that he has a tag team in mind that can take care of Main Event Bradley and Big Nasty Phil. Violent J is not really an active performer like he used to be as far as professional wrestling. So he's the commissioner of Juggalo Championship Wrestling, and he says that he has a tag team ready, and it's the Juggalo Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions. So stay tuned next week on Memphis Wrestling. I understand that Violent J will be back, so we'll see that story develop as it goes. But super, super cool to see Violent J on Memphis Wrestling. Jeffrey's here. He said he loves seeing Van come back. Van Vicious makes his return to Memphis Wrestling and calls Jimmy Blaylock a fraud. Something that we already knew. Where's Bo at? I'm looking for Bo in the chat because he's always taken up for Hollywood Jimmy Blaylock. But it came right from Van Vicious, Jimmy Blaylock's former right-hand man, former superstar, if you will, former lead actor. Now it's all come to a head. Jimmy Blaylock bouncing checks. Who's not surprised by that? Well, what a hell of a catch where Van Vicious caught one of the Twinkies that the fans were tossing. Patrick is here. Patrick says, is Todd Morton related to Ricky Morton? I believe so, yes. So he's a third-generation star. Love me some Rock and Roll Express. I've wrestled Ricky Morton more times than I can count. Been in more locker rooms with him than I can count. So I felt like I knew Kerry Morton. And when I was interviewing Kerry at the desk, he was oozing this sleaziness to where I felt like something was up, but didn't know until he calls out the best, and that brought out Mike Anthony, who got swiftly kicked in the you-know-what. So, yeah, Ricky Morton, Todd Morton, Kerry Morton. Rico says, is Marco Harris signed to Memphis Wrestling? Yes, Marco Harris you will see on future Memphis Wrestling programming. So stay tuned. I don't really want to say more than that because I don't want to spoil it, but Marco Harris is here in Memphis Wrestling. Had a great showing at the Grind City Rumble, went toe-to-toe with the Boz a little bit, and then also with Joe Hendry. So big start for Marco Harris here in Memphis Wrestling. Patrick says Matt Riddle is the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. Stay tuned. We might actually see that MLW World Heavyweight Championship right here on Memphis Wrestling. That's kind of how we roll. Rico said, if you had Stars of Tomorrow titles, who would you put them on? I mean, if there was a Star of Tomorrow championship, I mean, CJ Blaine has absolutely killed it. Makari Candy won Rookie of the Year. She has a gripe for some sort of Stars of Tomorrow championship. Big John Dalton is not necessarily a Star of Tomorrow anymore, but still considered a rookie by most because he is so young. So Take your pick. What about Vashon Harvey? I think he would need to win a match first, right? He does a lot of talking and not a lot of winning just yet, but I see some raw potential with Vashon Harvey. What's up, Robert? How are you? Kerry Morton made an ass of himself, says Willie. I agree. Ben Vanderberg's here. Hey, Dustin, love to see Kerry Morton more in Memphis Wrestling because he gave a mic for a run for his money. Yeah, there's some other footage that hasn't been seen. I plan to post that on our members only so you guys can see what everybody else saw. But yeah, Kerry Morton, very good showing. Loved working with him. Terrible attitude, very much into himself, but did great at the VIP, and the people loved him. Big thanks, Ben. I appreciate that. Bo says, can't main event Bradley. Big match feel and Violent J all just get along. I can't pick sides. I can't believe, first of all, that main event Bradley and Big Nasty Phil are not juggalos. How's that even a thing? Willie says, Violent J's from my hometown. Very cool, Willie. Lurvy says, I only informed wrestling fans in the chat where Memphis Wrestling vets are wrestling in Arkansas. Many of them wrestled in Memphis Wrestling the past 3 years. I'd love to see many of them return. Yeah, well, I mean, who is it that has not returned just yet that you see out in Arkansas? Because you mentioned main event Bradley. He's been a mainstay here since day one. Kate Toomer, Ray Sanders. Also, just to let you guys know, Memphis Wrestling does partner with other territories here. Tuckerman, Arkansas is one of those. EPW is another out in Boonville. Also, Osceola has MCW. So, yeah, we have partners to where we send our talent out, too. So don't get it twisted. Yeah, those guys. But I want to know, who is it that you see out there that has not returned to Memphis Wrestling? I'd love to see that list. Jason says, hello, Dustin Starr. Happy weekend. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. It is a happy weekend sitting here at the WrestleCenter talking to you guys. Lurby says, a fear of clowns. Oh, coulrophobia is what it looks like. Rico says, I missed the majority of the episode, but I did hear Violent J talk about his promotion. So with that being said, are you guys having a partnership? Oh, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. It was very important to bring those guys in and not necessarily make them against us, because we don't want to battle. We want to uplift independent wrestling companies, much like Reality of Wrestling, United Wrestling Network. We've had EPW champion Marco Harris with the title at the Grind City Rumble. So we're trying to uplift independent wrestling. And speaking of uplifting independent wrestling, here in just a minute, I want to talk about the official WWE ID match that's coming on January 26th. And also on February 16th, there's another one. You're going to see a lot of really good stuff coming from WWE ID right here at Memphis Wrestling. That's big time. Ricky and Todd are cousins, says Ben. Thank you for that. Jake Hudson is here. What's up, brother? How are you? Rico, go back and check the entire episode out. I think you'll really like it. Mike Anthony versus Kerry Morton was a rematch from NWA Texas. Never seen it. Don't care. Whole different story than us, but I bet it was an awesome match. And I didn't no idea that they had wrestled before, so that would have made me feel even better about putting in the ring together. Keith says, I can't believe what MJF said about Jeff Jarrett's former partner. That was really disgusting, Kerry. I have been talking to Jeff Jarrett here lately, so I would love to have him make an appearance here at the WrestleCenter. Rico says, I believe Kate Toomer and AJ Francis is going to be on the table. Stay tuned. Who would not want to see AJ Francis versus the master of Fat Jitsu? I'd love to see that. Kerry Morton appearing unannounced in Memphis Wrestling. I'd love to see more surprise appearances, even if Memphis Wrestling fans are least expecting them. That came from Lurvy. Lurvy usually, I feel like we've done it quite a bit where you don't really know what the main event is going to be, even throughout the program leading to the end. So we've done that quite a few times, having like an impromptu main event. So I really thought that this worked out, especially with Kerry Morton coming out as a good guy and then challenging the very best. You heard some Mike chants, you heard some Bosby chants, but then here comes Mike, and then the swift kick switched it all up, and I just knew that would be a great match, those two paired up. Let's see. Get caught up. Ben says the fans started calling Van Vicious all the way Van. That's funny. Rico, so Dustin, you and Van Vicious are on better terms. I don't know if we're on better terms, but I love to see Van Vicious, a very talented athlete, come back with his head screwed on correctly and putting Jimmy Blaylock in his place. I thought that was awesome. Thomas, the Gun Show, put up a great show today. Boom! I'm going to ask you guys, put yes or no, and when I get there, I'll know what it means. Yes or no, will the Gun Show become a 3-time Memphis Heritage champion? Yes or no? Lurvy, Kerry reminds me of Brian Christopher without the hyena laughter. He could bust out some hyena laughter, but I see what you're saying there. Very, very good stuff, Lurvy. I can see it. Robert, any chance of Nick Nemeth appearing in Memphis Wrestling? Absolutely, there's a chance of Nick Nemeth appearing in Memphis Wrestling. Would you guys like to see Nick Nemeth here in Memphis Wrestling? Violent J in the Circus could be the new oddity, says Keith. Oh, yes, Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler. I agree. The card of Super Bout 4 is getting stacked. This will be awesome. I think it might be one of our best episodes ever. It will be a 3-week blockbuster spectacular. Super Bout Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. It's all going down live here January 26th. Lion says, peace, Dustin, from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Love Memphis Wrestling. I've been to Memphis to watch the USWA. Hope one day to see you all down there, visit again. I hope to watch your show live. Lion, if you make the trip from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, please send me a message because I might even just give you a ticket. I can help you out with some hotel accommodations as well. We would love to help you get here. That would be fantastic, Lion. Be sure to shout me out, championshipwrestlingmemphis@gmail.com. Rico says, I wish Action Jackson would return. Rico, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Thomas says that's right. WWE and TNA have signed a multi-year partnership. Yes, that multi-year partnership will help us. Anytime something big happens in the wrestling world, there is a trickle-down effect that will help Memphis Wrestling. Obviously, we already booked TNA wrestling superstars. So the bigger and more powerful superstars they become, the more valuable they become when we book them. And so I just can't wait to see what happens next, especially with WWE ID talent coming here to sharpen their teeth and sharpen their skills, so to speak. It's going to be awesome. Rico says Vashon Harvey needs an attitude adjustment. Violent J is like the Triple H of JCW, says Keith. Patrick says, if it makes sense, would you allow other promotions to sanction your champions? It's like possible for Aaron Roberts to defend the Heritage title on OW. It is, but that company has to be interested, and that the companies have to play ball. It's very clear what we have these folks doing when they come in from other promotions and have championship belts here. So it's just very much a respect type of thing. And sometimes I don't want our championships out anywhere else. Reality of Wrestling would be great. United Wrestling Network would be great. Juggalo Championship Wrestling would be great. EPW could possibly be great as well, but we don't mix up the championships a whole lot because those are very prestigious. They're a very important part of what we're doing here in our promotion, and they have to be protected as such. But I like where you're going, Patrick. Jason says, I'm ready for the, let me get, oh, shoot, jumped on me. Oh, gosh. Let me get caught up real quick, guys. Ready for the next episode Sunday, and I think Ray will get his revenge on Psycho Simon next Sunday or Derek King. It looks like Derek King's final match will take place at Super Bout 4. All King Cobra has to do is sign the contract. Derek King's final match, one-on-one with Psycho Simon, and I am here for it. Robert says, damn right. Rico says, man, Penta's WWE debut was fantastic, and I hear Ray Phoenix is going to reunite the Lucha Brothers. I can't wait for that. Aaron Roberts, Jackass Jimmy Blaylock, and Tyrus versus Jenny Craig. Willie, that's low, brother. That is low. I'm not sure what this means, Patrick. Thomas, this Sunday, TNA Genesis, NXT Superstars. I can't wait to see that. Proud of the way Derek King stood up to the bully Psycho Simon. That's what Keith says. I totally agree. Nick Nemeth, hell yeah, says Jeffrey. Can't wait to see one more match. Van Vicious returning from Hollywood like he had his rented house burned to the ground and didn't get the acting role he wanted. He blames Jimmy for his fall from grace. I think there's a lot more to that story as we peel back the layers, and stay tuned to Memphis Wrestling. Thomas says, I have respect for Memphis Wrestling. Dustin, I also have respect for WWE and TNA that put together. Me too. This is going to be fantastic. Psycho Simon got a good beatdown from Derek King, says Willie. Who does Dustin think will win the Royal Rumble? I think that's going to be John Cena. I predict WWE will gobble up TNA. Robert, I already thought last year when this partnership was reached that WWE was purchasing TNA, or TKO was purchasing TNA, and it might still be a thing. Speaking of exodus from California, isn't it time UWN relocated in another state like Texas? I'm not sure why they would do that. Dave Marquez lives in Los Angeles and has a lot of connections there. And I think that the television tapings for United Wrestling Network are going to return very soon, probably March, since they're filming in February. So they just have to get a consistency about them. Memphis Wrestling is the best indie promotion, says Brian. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Bet you WWE and TNA will gobble up AEW. It makes me feel like AEW is now the clear number 3 promotion in the world instead of 2. TNA is 2. Keith, please, Hendry, win the TNA World Championship. That would be awesome. DK, one more run. WWE always depletes other wrestling companies' roster. They are cutthroats. Willie, we are partnered with them in some sort of way, even if it's very minute. They are a partner of us, WWE is. WWE, I know, gobbles up talent because many other promotions close their doors rather than help companies grow. I don't trust WWE. Okay, guys, man, calm down, man. WWE doing a lot of really good stuff for the independent wrestling companies, especially ours at this point. Rico says, bring back the Shocker. I love that guy. You'll see more of the Shocker on Memphis Wrestling very soon. All right, I have a couple of more minutes here, guys, live, and then I'm going to go to Facebook. I think that we need to do a members-only chat later on tonight, so I'm going to try to get all of that in, but I appreciate you guys joining me here. I'll get all finished up with the remaining of the comments and the questions. Let me know. Put it in the comments. Also, if you're not watching this and if you're watching this and we're no longer live, that's all cool. All you have to do is put your questions and topic in the comments, and we'll make sure that we touch on those, whether it's by text or by video. Do you think Jeff Jarrett will come in Memphis Wrestling and visit soon, says Jason? Yes, I really do. Jeff Jarrett was in the building in 2024, had some really good stuff with him. He took the tour. He loved the place. So did his father, and I'm sure that Jeff Jarrett will be doing business with us at some point very soon. Keith says, Vicious is like Buff Bagwell of Memphis. Thomas says, I don't trust AEW. Y'all don't trust anybody, do you? Rico says, Dustin, when certain promotions go out of business, why do folks blame WWE? That's because they're just mismanaging how they're promoting their business. I don't know. I don't know the details of, but WWE is not running anybody out of business. WWE wants us all to succeed, especially training centers like ours, so that way we can keep polishing and keep delivering better talent to them, so one day they could be on their show. So Rico, WWE is not the bad guy. Thomas has respect for NWA. What happened to Kid Wrestling? Who knows? Some of these guys just don't have their heads on straight, brother. Who knows what happened to Kid Wrestling? Keith says, where's Paul White been? I don't know. I'd love to bring Big Show here, though. Memphis would be better off partnering with AEW. I disagree wholeheartedly, Robert, even though we do book AEW talent. So the word partnership is being used very loosely. Me and Booker T, our organizations have a partnership. There's a very strong partnership with United Wrestling Network. Also, JCW, there's not a partnership, but there's obviously a working relationship and a mutual respect. AEW, TNA Wrestling, WWE, we help provide talent for all of them. So they're all basically partners in some way, even if I'm using that term very, very loosely. Jordan Grace versus C-Rex. Man, we haven't seen C-Rex since she suffered that big L a couple of weeks back. Sooner or later, I will be a member again, but it's fun always chatting with you, Dustin. Lurvy, you better get that badge back, brother. Come on. Patrick says, if UWM comes back consistent, would you still do business with them? Yeah, we're doing business with them, and they're stagnant. Riddle rocks. That's right, Keith. It's not happening, Robert. I missed what Robert said. Oh, partnering with AEW. AEW has to want to partner with people, too, by the way. Dustin Starr, thanks. I'll tell you when I come back to Memphis, visiting from Toronto. I'll follow Instagram, etc. Would love to meet the local new Memphis wrestling stars. We'd love that, Lion. Please let me know. As far as I'm concerned, I just want more wrestling and more promotions to do better. Rico, me too. Missed the show. Did Jay Fago? Fago, you know, he did not pour Fago on me. I like WWE, NWO, WCW, and Memphis Wrestling. Oh, yeah. Paul White is on ROH. Is he really? Who else will show up on Memphis Wrestling from the NWA? We weren't really targeting the NWA thing, and we didn't really sell the NWA thing. It was more about the Juggalo Championship Wrestling thing, to be honest with you. Can't wait for Jordan Grace to destroy Tessa Blanchard tomorrow. That would be awesome. Okay, guys, that's all the time I have for this live reaction. I really appreciate it. You can see the card is shaping up very nicely for Super Bout 4 that's coming up on Sunday, January 26th. You will not want to miss it. When will you improve the look of the location? I don't mind, but it has a warehouse feel. Any ideas of adding different lighting options? I am not Nugget Blackheart. Have you ever been here live? Lighting, I'm sitting under the lighting right now, and it looks perfect, actually. So we've done many, many improvements to the location. If you haven't watched today's episode, then go back and check that out. There's new paint on the walls. There's brand new lighting all around the wrestling ring. There's a new camera shot where the hard cam is located. And I've actually had several text messages of people that are just acquaintances that watch and have complimented the new look and how sharp and less indie the show feels. So again, I ask you the question, I am not a nugget, even though you seem like a nugget on this about updating the look of the location. I think the place looks great. Be the WrestleCenter floors are like movie theaters, sticky AF. No, they're not, old school Dave. We actually mop the floors here. We sweep and mop the floors. That's funny. But I tell you, before we sweep and mop the floors, there's definitely some soda on there. Brian says the place looks awesome. Yeah, you got to be here, man. Or I'm not sure what you're watching. We're not WWE. We're not AEW. We are Memphis Wrestling, and we're proud of what we have. Ben says, I enjoyed the new camera view on the episode. Never stop making leaps and bounds on the program. Thank you, Ben. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. All right, that's all the time I've got. I'll respond to everybody else at a later time, and I really appreciate you guys joining me here. Old School Dave, yes, sir. Have a great day. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you're not a member on our members only, then go ahead and subscribe. It's only $3.99 a month. There's all sorts of behind-the-scenes stories, and there's no telling what we're going to talk about coming up here. I'm going to skip over to Facebook, so for those of you who follow us on Facebook, join me there, and I'll see you guys soon. WrestleCenter feels like home. Oh, yeah. If you could book the UWN champion for a title match at Super Bout, I'd pop. I don't think that's going to happen. What time tonight for members only? It'll be a little bit later tonight, Jeffrey. I think we'll do a little bit later. But if you guys send me questions, we'll get it off the ground and we'll get it rocking and rolling. I am Dustin Starr saying so long, everybody. Oh, yeah. See you guys. Thank you.